All right, guys, another day, another ND3 Miata. I've reviewed so many of those. I actually went through my ZPI index the other day and found 15 entries for various ND generations of Miata, ND1, ND2, ND3. And I've driven some of those examples multiple times. So we're talking about probably close to 20 different videos on my channel over the years. And yet here we are in another example. I get so many offers to review these cars, and there's a good reason. So not only am I going to review this particular example of the ND3 today, but I want to talk bigger picture. Why is this car, the ND Miata in general, and Miatas in general, so popular, and why I don't want one? So let's start off with the mods. The owner, Mike, modified this to be a street and canyon car. We've got the Supermiata Tecna Sport coilovers with the Swift Spring upgrade. We have an alignment, 2.5 degrees of camber up front, 2 degrees in the back. For wheels and tires, we've got the Flyin Miata Kogeki 17x9 plus 45. Actually, that's S2000 fitment. Crazy that I know that. And we're running Toyo Proxes Sport tires. They're 235/40/17 all around. We've also got this Cravenspeed short shift kit, a custom shift knob, a Goodwin Racing front strut tower brace, and an HKS Legamax Sport exhaust. Pretty standard mods, bolt-ons, suspension, short shifter. We also have an aftermarket throttle pedal. And this is a club without the Brembo BBS Recaro package. So we got the base seats, the base floating calipers up front, they're not the Brembos, and of course the BBS wheels, which Mike already swapped out. This exterior color is called Zircon Sand. I absolutely love it. I think it really pops and it stands out compared to all the Soul Red Crystal Metallic Miatas out there. Not that that color is not amazing, but this one just has a little bit more flair to it in my opinion. This is powered, of course, by the 2-liter naturally aspirated inline 4-cylinder found in the ND2 as well. This makes 181 horsepower and 151 pound-feet of torque. 6-speed manual transmission with an LSD, since only the base sport model comes with an open diff. Being a soft top, this only weighs around 2,300 pounds. Double wishbone front suspension, multi-link rear, electric power steering. I've gone through these specs so many times, I can rattle these numbers off like nobody's business. But let's talk about how this particular car drives, and bigger picture, why the Miata is so popular. And I think it's actually quite telling that the owner, Mike, used to have a Camaro SS1LE, and while he appreciated the performance of that car, it just didn't speak to him emotionally. He actually replaced that with this. He went down close to 300 horsepower, but also 1,500 plus pounds. And he likes this car way, way more. Shout out to Kevin Jabal up there, driving an E60 M5, for making this review possible. Ooh, nice short shifter here, this Cravenspeed short shift kit. It shortens the throws, obviously, but it also makes the shift action a bit higher effort, a bit more mechanical. Is it an upgrade over stock? I mean, the stock shifter is already so good, and I like the lightness of it, the low effort. But if you prefer a more S2000-like shift feel, this does a great job. Just the nimbleness of this car, the purity of it, the direct steering, not a ton of feedback through the steering, but great load up, great on center feel, very precise. But I've already said all of these things before. Let's talk about why this car is so popular, at least in my view. And it comes down to a few things. Number one, most importantly, it's that it's affordable. Obviously, if you fully spec out a club, RF, Brembo, BBS, Recaro, all that stuff, you're looking at over $40,000, maybe closer to $45,000. And that is no small sum of money for a two-door sports car. Okay, this Jeep is driving a bit erratically, but when you think bigger picture in the landscape of brand new cars, enthusiast driving cars that you can buy today, the fact that you can get these for $30,000, $35,000 in a decent trim level is pretty impressive. And although you're not getting much power, you're not getting much of anything, this is a small, lightweight car, the fact that it's so pure That's what makes it so enjoyable. What other car today will give you this unfiltered of a driving experience? High revving, naturally aspirated engine that lets you wind it out on basically any road because it's less than 200 horsepower. Get that beautiful rotation on throttle thanks to this limited slip differential, retuned for the ND3 generation for increased corner entry stability, and all in all, you just get such an enjoyable little car. They've made millions of Miatas over the years, from NA to ND, but I would argue that in today's day and age, the Miata is actually not so much of an emotional purchase. At least if I were to buy one, it would not be an emotional purchase, and I think that probably holds true for many people. The Miata, if you really think about it, is the logical choice. If you want something that you can drive every single day and drive hard in the canyons, on the track, and just beat on it 10/10ths, improve your driving skills in the process, and have very little to worry about in terms of ownership costs, and I'm talking reliability, maintenance, even aftermarket upgrades, because there's such a massive aftermarket for this car with so many different options available for suspension, brakes, chassis stiffening, wheels, exhaust, intake, aero. I mean, the options are limitless. So you can take this car as a blank canvas and build it exactly how you want. And that is actually quite a unique proposition, even though the car itself is common and there's such a great community around these cars. And when you think about it from that perspective, $30,000 to $40,000 is a small price to pay for all the value that you're getting. If you're a driving enthusiast, if you want to do track days, canyon runs, have a great time with very low risk, this is the way to do it. But here's why I don't want one. Admittedly, I am someone who likes to buy cars that other people don't really think too much about. Cars that I don't really see out on the road very often. Even though the 3 cars in my personal garage right now are all reliable Japanese cars, I rarely see any of them on the road. Sometimes it takes months or years to see another NC1 NSX or Integra Type S on the road. If I were to be totally logical about it, with a 3-car garage, I would have gone with a dedicated track car, something like this ND3 Miata with modifications, a practical daily driver that's not really an enthusiast car, maybe a crossover, or maybe something like a BMW X5 that can actually tow my track car to the track. And then I would have one third car that can be more emotional, something like an NSX that I take out on date nights and is more of a special occasion type of car. I obviously didn't do that. I went with 3 emotional purchases because those cars just speak to me in a way that unfortunately the Miata doesn't. Even though I really love driving properly modified examples of this car, especially on track. And another big part of that is just simply due to the fact that I've driven so many examples. This is not a new experience for me anymore. I thrive on new driving experiences and ownership experiences. And the Miata has kind of become the new S2000 in my world. I've driven so many different examples on street and track, and there's no longer any novelty to it. So even though objectively it's probably the right car and should have a spot in my garage, I just can't bring myself to do it. That's not to take anything away from this platform. It's amazing. Millions of people have enjoyed and loved and cherished their Miatas. This is a great example of how to modify a Miata as an all-around excellent sports car. The Supermiata Tecna coilovers with the Swift Spring upgrade, I might add, does improve the handling of this car on a bumpy road compared to the standard springs. The HKS Legamax exhaust is excellent. It opens up the sound of this otherwise muted engine. The wheels and tires are an absolute must if you want that nice aesthetic stance. I mean, there's so many ways to modify this, and I think Mike has done an excellent job. I actually really like this short shifter with this particular shift knob. It gives me major Honda S2000 vibes in terms of the shift feel. And in this excellent shade of Zircon Sand Metallic, it's quite a looker as well. I've always liked how the ND generation looks with the right mods, lowered, widened stance, in the right color. It's a timeless, beautiful sports car. I am just full of praise for the ND Miata, specifically the ND3. I think this is easily the best version of the Miata ever. Everything about it has just been dialed in and honed over the years. Yet again, I just can't bring myself to buy one. It's just not that kind of emotional car for me. But let me know what you think about my thoughts on the Miata as a platform. Are any of you in the same boat where you recognize all the amazing qualities of this car, and yet you don't have the urge to own one? Why is that? I'd be really curious to know your thoughts on this topic. A big shout out to Mike once again, and Kevin from the Jabal and Cars YouTube channel. Thank you guys as always for watching. Keep your Miata submissions coming. I will drive every Miata on the planet if given the opportunity. See you guys in the next one.